Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. How are you this beautiful, gorgeous week? So much energy, right? Coming off of that beautiful Pisces full moon, feeling all the feels. Yeah. And then right into this beautiful fall equinox. So I think it's just a gorgeous and beautiful time to be talking about attracting your soul clients and it's about setting up your business and life for joy and ease and nourishment. So we have been journeying through the 3 pillars of what I lovingly call anti-marketing framework. And we are at pillar 3. So if you haven't gotten to listen to the other 2 pillars, or if you had joined the workshop and you weren't able to come live, check your inbox. You should have a replay there. But we've got Tuesday and Wednesday went through pillar 1, which is your who, pillar 2, which is your how. And today we're going to be talking about where, which is one of the pieces that I think really challenges people, because this is where we get into shoulding ourselves quite a bit. So if you are here joining me live, please make sure that you give StreamYard permission to let me know that you're here so I can see your comments. And if you are joining me on the replay, #replay. So let's dive into this important piece of the framework, because if we aren't where our soul clients are, then we're not going to find them, or they're not going to find us. So like I said, what I know is true is that this is one of those pieces where people will get themselves spun out energetically and, putting a lot of time and energy into doing the things they believe they should do that are supposed to work to help them to connect to soul clients. And yet they find that it's not working so well. So one of the myths out there in traditional marketing is that, just show up more. The more you show up, that's what's going to make the difference. And now, yes, I had someone ask me in one of our workshops, about the number of touches that it takes to support someone in making a yes or no decision for themselves. And it is true that we need to continue to reach out and find different ways to connect with people. People can be in your world for years before they are ready for a yes. But what does that world look like? It doesn't mean that you're supposed to be everywhere all the time. It means you finding your lane that feels good to you, that works with how you're uniquely wired and designed. So there's an inner piece and an outer piece of this, for all the pieces of the framework, right? So one of the mistakes that I see some folks make is that they end up hanging out. What I say is, hang out where it feels good to you as well. Like we don't want to be, if I told you had to go and show up and do 30 days of lives, on Facebook, for a lot of you, that would be like, oh my goodness, just put a fork in me. But for other people, that would be great. But if you don't enjoy hanging out on Facebook, and then it's not going to be a strategy that works so well for you. But what I'll find is that people do enjoy hanging out on Facebook and they're in these communities, but instead of communities of their potential clients, they're communities of like-minded souls who are on a similar journey that they are, which could be their soul client, may not. So if you are, a mentor, a coach, a guide, and you're hanging out in groups that support you in your business journey, your clients may or may not be there if you're doing work in the health field. So really paying attention to, are you in the right place where your people like to hang out, as well as where it feels good for you? So external journey, external data. How do we figure this out? So there's a lot of beautiful ways that we can get data for ourselves in terms of where it's best for us and how it's best for us to show up. And so, if you're introverted versus extroverted, there's different strategies that are going to feel better depending on how you're wired and designed. So during the most recent summit, we looked at human design quite a bit, right? And we talked about, your different strategies and how you can market using those strategies. For example, you can look at your astrology. I use that a lot in my business for myself and with my clients because it's such beautiful, rich information that helps us to validate the things about ourselves that we sense or know, but that external validation is always really helpful. So you can do different personality profiles. Your Enneagram will give you information. Your human design, Akashic records. There's so many different ways that you can get some external data to say, hey, this is how, or validate, because it's usually we know these things, but that external validation is really helpful of how we're wired and designed so that it helps to guide us. And then we need to put it through this internal filter. Does it feel good? Is it working for you? In terms of you choosing to show up and feeling good about showing up and doing those things. If you are a person that likes to connect one-to-one and, a networking event may feel overwhelming to you. But if you're super social and you're wired that way, then a networking event, whether it be virtual or in person, may be just the thing that brings your energy up so that you are lit up and you're able to share in a way that feels really good for you, which is really key. Wherever you're showing up, however you're showing up, needs to be in an energy that people are attracted to, right? And that can be in the written word, the spoken word, video, audio. There's our frequency, our energy comes through. So there's the me part, the you part, and then there's your soul client. Where are they hanging out? What do they like? What resonates with them? How do they interpret information and take things in? And that requires that piece of discovery that we talked about in the who pillar. So each of these pillars builds on the other. And by the time we get to this piece, what I find most often is that my clients are already getting clients before we even talked about the where, because there's already people in their field, and that are already attracted to them. And when they raise their vibration, when they're speaking really clearly about their who and how they can help them, it's magical. So, but gathering data, where do your people like to hang out? How do they like to take in information? That is really, really important for you to uncover and do some discovery around. So thinking about this, for yourself, I imagine that many of you over time have been told, just do X, Y, Z, and that will, in terms of how you show up for yourself. What is it that's working for you? What is it that's been a struggle? Pop those comments in the chat. I'd love to know so we can give you some support and guidance and direction. Because if we're not showing up somewhere, that's going to be a challenge to connect with those soul clients. But this is where the pieces really start to, come together. And then having a plan for yourself that feels good so that as you are showing up and putting yourself out there, that you're doing it in a way that's sustainable. One of the things that, I've talked about this many times before, entrepreneurs have a super high rate of burnout. And a lot of businesses just never make it past the first few years. And what is often true is that it's because they're using tactics that don't work for how they're wired and designed. And so they're not getting the results they desire. And so therefore, they feel like a failure. I was there. That was me. I was using all these tactics and I was so frustrated. I was like, why is this not working? I'm doing all the things they tell me to do. I am, following all the steps, doing all the things, and still it's not working. And I can see now why it didn't work. the things that I was doing were not aligned with who I was. They were certainly aligned for the coaches that I was working with, but it wasn't taking my energy into account, how I like to show up and what I need for myself, which therefore left me not connecting with my people. So it was really challenging, and it's really, it takes a toll when you're not connecting the way you want to. And when you're like, I know I have this gift. I know that I'm meant to support and serve others. And why is this not happening? Why isn't it working? But oftentimes it's just because there's this small tweak that needs to happen, whether it's in the front end of what we're sharing or in this other pieces of the framework that we are not in alignment with ourselves. When we look at the roadmap to soul clients, these pieces stack upon one another. And when they're aligned and in sync with who we are, that's when the magic happens. So breaking this apart for yourself, looking at which pieces are working, which pieces are not working, and then getting some support around that, knowing that it's fixable. It's just finding your way. And you are so needed in the world. Your work in the world is needed. This planet needs so much healing. So whether you're meant to serve 1 or 10 or 10,000 or 1,000,000 people, finding your way is going to open up that energy so that those folks that you're meant to support can come in. So, recap. Let's talk about pillar number 1 real quick. We've got your who. So we get told that we need to develop all of these parts and pieces, the avatar, the niche, all the things. What we really need to do is do a deep dive and discovery into ourselves of who we connect with and asking those questions to others that we believe are our soul clients and really getting clear so that we have the language, so that we have the what and the how all tied together. And so that's a huge part of, as I've said, what we do in soul client alignment, because it is so foundational to this process. So once we really understand deeply our who, then we can move into the how. And often that just comes together because our who has helped to inform us of how. But there's the inner world piece of our how, of us standing in our value, owning our uniqueness, so that we can create offers that are not just aligned and an easy yes for our soul client, but that we feel really good about, where we feel valued, where we feel like we're standing in our truth. So important, because otherwise, if we're undervaluing ourselves, if we are not standing for that transformation for our soul clients, then again, we can create that energy, that cycle where we are burning ourselves out or just getting frustrated. We won't get the results we're looking for. And then we've got pillar 3, and that's the where. And again, we'll get so much data from these other pieces that by the time we start to look at this is the fun part. I love pulling together. I create a document for my my soul client alignment clients called External Data for Internal Review. And this is where we take all these different pieces and it helps us to just solidify what we probably already know at this point about where they're meant to show up and what those next visibility steps are. But it validates, and it's so important to get that validation for ourselves. Now, sometimes we may be meant to show up somewhere where it's like, oh, really? And that's a growth edge, and that's beautiful. But if it's like, oh, you feel sick to your stomach, that's not your place. We don't want to be doing things like that. So, like I said, when all these pieces are aligned and in sync, that's when the magic is happening. That's when the flow is there and we are able to really connect with our soul clients and be doing the work in the world that we are meant to and choose to. So those are the 3 pillars of the framework. And, at the base of that is you and your magic and who you are and how you show up in the world, and really honoring that. As I say, a thriving business requires a nourished and happy you. So a lot of this journeying through this framework is, again, putting it through your beautiful heart mind, this brilliant brain in your heart, listening to what's true for you, and then taking that action from there. My job when I support my clients is not to tell them what, where, how, but really to help them to uncover that who, that how, that where, that feels good, and to help them to step into their yes to themselves and to their clients. So that's what my mission is, to ensure you're out there in the world, supporting those that you're meant to and doing your work in the world. And one of the ways that I do that, aside from this free group, and if you're on my email list, every week, my intention is to bring some piece of knowledge to you that I've received or that I've had shared from me with someone else that will support you on your journey. And then twice a year, I open up enrollment for Soul Client Alignment. And yesterday we had one of our Q&A calls, and it just to see that we were talking about the transformation, because we were talking about the equinox and what were we celebrating for this harvest and what were we releasing. And there was just so much beauty to celebrate in each of their journeys, from where they were, scared and concerned that they, could they make this business go, to now really feeling confident with their offer. They know who they're talking to. They know that their offers resonate because they're getting results. And that just makes my heart sing. And it is the thing that I show up every day for, when I can see that connection, when I know that ripple effect is happening. So I'd love to invite you to have a chat and see if you are in a place in your business where you're not feeling the flow, or that you're worried about how to do all these things. Sometimes people come into this brand new, which is great, because we're going to save you a ton of time and money and energy, because we're going to set up all this foundational systems and structure from the get-go. But maybe you're a little ways along, like I was, and you are feeling stuck and frustrated and need that push, to that support to get things moving in your business. Either end or anywhere along that spectrum is a beautiful place to be, to step into this exploration. It's a 4-month program, and my intention is that you are, getting that clarity, getting that those answers for yourself, and getting out there and earning while you're learning. That's how we get a lot of data and feedback. So take a look at the page, and then if it resonates, or if you're curious, I know that, Judy, who was here with me on Monday, she questioned and she was a little nervous, and she wasn't sure, that she could afford to invest in herself, even at, the monthly payments that we structured. But, she said yes to herself. The money has come, the clients have come. And, so if you're at all curious, or there's this niggling of well, is this the thing? What I promise is that we'll look at your roadmap, where you are with your soul client roadmap, and we'll see if this is the right fit. And if not, I will definitely direct you to one of my amazing colleagues or support, or, things that I'm aware of, or some places that you might get curious. I want you plugged in to the right thing for you for right now. But I don't want you holding yourself back and saying, well, I'll just keep trying this or trying that, and getting frustrated and not getting results. So this is a step-by-step process that works and will get you results. And so if you're ready to get results, if you're ready to say yes to yourself, to ensure that you've got that clarity, that confidence, and that you know what to say, where to talk to them, and how to set up your offers, then this program's for you. So I would love to chat with you more about it. I've got some early bird pricing that I've extended till October 1st, since I was a little behind on a few things. But so you've got a whole week. I've got spots open up on my calendar for the next week or so to chat with you, short chat, and see what might work. So pop on over to this page. There's a button there that says book a call, and it will take you right to my calendar and we can chat. All right, my friends. So stepping into all that you are, that is possible for you, what is it that you choose to create? What is the energy within which you want to be, right? We talked about how do you want to feel in your business? How do you want to be showing up in the world? And what do you want your experience to be? And that's really the foundational pieces. And I want you to feel excited about what's possible for your business so that you can be working with those soul clients, so you can experience the satisfaction, the joy that comes with helping people on their transformational journey. And I would be honored if it's the right fit to support you on that journey as well. So, all right, that's it for today. Questions, drop them in the chat, private message me. And I will be sharing a little bit more over the next week about the various pieces of the program, and we'll get back to some of our regularly scheduled programming. It won't be all this all the time, but there's some magic in here, whether you join the program or not, just some beautiful things for you to think about. So, all right, my friends, well, have a beautiful rest of your day. And remember, all it takes is a little bit of heart power. I'll see you later.